Hello, it's me again. So, just want to make a few remarks about hypertension. And these guidelines, by the way, do change over time. One or two of the committees that create standards or guidelines for blood pressure still take about 140/90 on 3 separate occasions. But there are lower thresholds as well, depending on who you ask. And there does definitely seem to be ill effects of higher blood pressure. The older you get, in some ways, the more you tolerate. And for some people, their high blood pressure is actually a symptom of the fact that their arteries are getting hardened, that the arteries going to their brain are hardened. They actually need a certain amount of pressure to perfuse blood through their brain. At the same time, high blood pressure can cause stroke and more heart disease, and it can be a dangerous thing. Some people just have high blood pressure from very young. The arteries that go to their kidneys start to narrow, and it causes release of this hormone we've looked at before, renin. So renal artery stenosis kidney artery stenosis is one of these things. But often it just seems that people are programmed to, their parents had it, their grandparents had it, they just seem to retain a lot of sodium and their blood pressure goes up. Now, would they be better off if their diet was very high in minerals like potassium, magnesium, and calcium? The evidence says yes. And the more of these people can get into their diet, the better. With hypertension, I mean, there are effective drugs out there, such as the angiotensin receptor blockers, for instance. But it's good to look at each individual patient. What's their stress level? What's their sodium intake? Do they get any potassium or magnesium foods in the diet? There's some examples of these foods here. Are they getting things like bananas, broccoli, cantaloupe, oranges, meats for that matter? Are they getting these sources of magnesium? Seafood, nuts, meats, or good sources of calcium. So I'm not going to make too many remarks about blood pressure. It is a serious medical condition, and there are fairly well tolerated drugs to treat it. But nutritionally, we want to look at this question: are there enough plant foods, or at least mineral-rich foods, to give someone what they need? Is there a good balance between sodium and potassium and magnesium and calcium? Or is sodium way out of proportion to these other minerals? We also want to look at their general level of inflammation. We want to look at their stress level. And obviously, what kind of atherosclerosis do they have? Are they getting blockage of the arteries, inflammation of the arteries, and hardening of the arteries? We will discuss in class, and you will post to Signet a summary description of one of the diets that can be useful for hypertension, like DASH or Mediterranean.